Code Afric. Unlock the future.
Alright guys, welcome back to this beautiful and awesome lesson. In this episode, we are going to create the counter section, okay? Let me show you how it looks like. And there we go. You can see how it is animating nicely. Alright, we are going to create this section with the help of Bootstrap and some jQuery plugins, and use the CSS also to do some styling. Alright, so let's dive in. Alright, now let's begin with a comment. Alright, so counter mockup starts and we end it here, okay? Alright, so we begin with a section. And inside the section, here I'll create a class and I'll make it start. I'll name it start, and I'll create an ID and I'll name that one to stats. Okay, start and stats. Now inside here, I'll create another class, a div with a class, then I'll call it content box, and this is where I'll put all my content. Now before we proceed, I would like to put some BR tag, which is break. Okay, now I'll create a div with a class container, and inside I'll create a div with a class row. Okay, so here I will align all the tests that will come from the container at the center. So here I will do test center. Now inside here, I'm going to work on the grade system. I'll create a class. I'll do column MD3. All right, so now inside here, I will create a div with a class and I will name it state items like this. And inside here, let's go ahead and call our font from the font awesome class. Okay, so I'll call the font awesome FA, and we are calling for the first, this one. We are calling for this one. This one is TV. Okay, so FA TV. That's the class. All right, something like this. All right, before anything, let's save it and check it first. Okay, so we come here, scroll down, and you can see that we have our television here. Okay, now let's move on. All right, so I would like us to create this section. Okay, the 3200 section and the plus. Okay, now let's go ahead and do that. So here I'll create an h2, and inside the h2 I'll call span. Okay, HTML span. Hope you remember that. All right, and inside the span I'll give it a class of counter, and I will align it at the center. All right, so inside here I'm putting my figures 3200. Now let's go ahead and create this plus. Okay, and I would like to use span, the same span, to do that. So I'll come at the end of this closing div of the span, I'll do another span, and inside here I'll put the plus, something like this. By then there is a space, so I'll put a space here like this. Okay, now let's check it. Awesome. So we have it like this. All right, let's move on. Now here we are left with one thing. Okay, when you check the original, you can see that we have a views here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'll put this in the p tag, which is a paragraph tag. So I'll do paragraph, then I'll call the views. Okay, now let's check it, and there we go. We have it here. All right. So now even to check from the original, you can see that we are having it how many times? 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is why we give the column MD3. Okay, so this side will cover 3. Okay, section. Then this one also will cover 3, making what? 6, and this one also will cover 3, making 9, and this one will cover 3, making what? 12. Then we have our full screen layout. Okay, all right, so what we are going to do is that we have to copy the code, or we duplicate the code 3 more times to get the 12. Okay, all right, so exactly what we are going to do. And then again, we are back with copying and pasting, so we have to be very, very careful. Okay, we have to be extra careful. So we copy it from this section, okay, where the column MD3 starts and this closing div. Okay, so if I click on this one, you can see that it has highlighted this div for me. So that is where it's closed. So here we are going to duplicate it. I've copied it. I'm going to paste it. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let me indent the code. Okay, so I'll format the code. Okay, now before we do anything, let's check it first. Okay, let's check it from the browser, and there we go. We can see that we have it well arranged here. All right, Now let's go ahead and change the icons and replace it with the right ones, okay, like this. All right, friends. Now you can see that I've changed the name and the figures, the numbers. I've changed the names and the numbers. You can see this one has been changed. This one is the default one. The first one, which is the view. This one is 100, and I've changed the font also to 100. Okay, FA 100, and I've changed the numbers. And this one to the third one to is Apple, and I've changed this one, the ratings here to internationally, and I've changed the figures, and likewise the Windows support. I've changed it to Windows. Okay, so now let's check it from our browser. Okay, so now you can see in our browser that our icons has been nicely changed. Okay, so now I want us to enter into the CSS section and start styling it. Okay, you can see that it has a background. Okay, nice background. Okay, and also the font also has been beautifully designed with a color. We are going to do all that in our CSS section. So let's dive into our CSS section and write some stylings to it. All right, so let's begin with a comment. All right, so we'll start our counter here, styling, and we end it here. Now, to begin with, I have to tackle the main class inside our HTML. The start. The start is the main class, so let's reference that class. So I'll do dot start. Now, inside this start, this is where I'm going to put almost everything. Okay, the background. I'm going to insert a background image first, and also and position the background at the center and give it some paddings and change the color of the text and co. Okay. All right, so let's do that. All right, so I'll give it a background image and I'll do the URL and I'll call my image. Okay, so I'll step out from two folders and come to the CSS folder. So I'll do double dot then forward slash. Then I'll enter into my images, img. Then I'll call the image. It's cover. Okay, you see it. .png. Now let's check it if you have anything at all. Okay, so you can see that our image is here. Okay, but it is not well positioned. So we give it some padding and position it well. So first and foremost, let's give it a background position. Okay, the background position, then we say center, and let's give it a padding top 180 pixels, and padding bottom will be 200 pixels, and let's change the color also to white. All right, now let's check it, and there we go. We can see that our image has been nicely inserted and it's looking awesome. By then, we want to give it a parallax. Okay, with this one, we want the image to be fixed at a particular position so that when we are scrolling, it will not move. It will remain at that particular position. Okay, when we compare it to the original one, when we come here, when we scroll, we can see that the text, everything move, but the image is stagnant. Okay, that's what I mean. So let's go ahead. Let's give it a background touch. Let's do the background attachment. Then we see what's fixed. All right, let's go ahead and check it. And we can see that when I move it, the background is being positioned at a fixed place. Okay, it's been stagnant, it's not moving. Okay, now let's put some padding between this section and this section. Okay, so let's give it a padding top, and I'll give it like 100 pixels. Now let's check it. Oh, okay, we are not getting the result. Oh, sorry, it's not padding. You have to make it margin. Okay, so it's margin top. Now let's check it, and there we go. We can see that we have a nice margin in between these ones. Okay, now the next thing to do is we have to tackle the icons here and also work on that. All right, so let's go ahead and tackle the icons and work on that. And with the icon, I'll come to my HTML, and this is the main class. Then I will reference the I. Okay, so the code will be dot big then I. All right, now I'll give it a font size of 85 pixels like this. All right, now let's save it and check. And there we go. You can see that our icon has been nicely arranged. Okay, and it is big enough. Okay, in comparing to this one. All right, so now we work on this section. Okay, we work on the figures here. Okay, let's work on that section, and you can see that the color is different from the rest. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And to do that, when I come to the HTML, I can find that class in this the state item and also the h2. So I'll reference the state item and the h2. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So the code will be state and h2. Now let's begin with the font. weight. Let's make the font weight bolder. Okay, we have bold and have bolder. So let's use the bolder. Then let's change the font size to 42 pixels. You can be changing it to your satisfaction. Let's change the color to deep sky blue. All right, now let's check it. Let's save it and check it. Refreshing. Scroll down. And there we go. We can see that it has been changed nicely in comparing to the original one. Okay. All right. The next thing to do is we have to work on the view and the Android and the international and the Windows support. Okay. And as usual, we can locate it inside our HTML. You can see that we can locate that one. We will call the main class, which is the state, and we will call the paragraph, which is the P. Dot state and P, which is paragraph. Now, straightforward, we are giving it a font weight of bold, this time not bolder, but bold. And let's make the letter spacing to be 1 pixels. Okay, something like this. Now, let's save it and check it. All right, scroll down. And there we go. Okay. Now, let's compare it to the original one. And we can see that we are almost there. Okay, you can see that we are almost there. All right, guys, now our project is working perfectly fine with the exception of the counter. Okay, so let's end here, come back on the next one, and let's work on the counter section.
Future.
Welcome back to this lesson. On our previous lesson, we were able to create this nice mockup like this as a counter section. And in this episode, what we are going to do is that we are going to add more functionalities and make it animate just like this. All right, so we are going to do this with the help of jQuery plugins. Okay, so let's dive in. All right, so here you open your browser and you search for counter app jQuery plugin. Okay, so when you hit on that, it will bring you to this page. Okay, so what you can do from here is that there are two things involved. You can look at the demo. Okay, you can check for the counter demo and look at how it works. So for instance, when you open this one in a new tab like this, let me refresh. When you open a new tab like this, you can see how it is demonstrating the counting. Okay, looking awesome. Okay, so exactly that is what it does. Okay, and that is what we are going to do also. And it has a documentation here that we can look at how we can install it and start using it. Okay, so it is very simple. Okay, so you need two files. The first file that we need is the waypoints.min.js file. Okay, and we also need the jQuery, okay, counterapp.min.js file. So we are going to download these two files and link it inside our HTML. All right. Okay, so when you check from here, we see that we have the span here with the class called counter, and I think we have done this one. Okay, we've created the counter class, and here is where you can put in your numbers so that the numbers can start installing, the numbers can animate nicely and start counting. All right, and you can see that here is inside the jQuery. Okay, so inside the jQuery section here too, we will need to put in the items and the code like this. All right. All right, so inside the JS section, you can see with how the jQuery also works inside the JS. So here you need a parent class, which is the counter. So you insert the parent class here, which is the counter, then the counter app, and you can see that you can set your delay. Okay, so you can set the delay here, and this also is works in the milliseconds. Okay, milliseconds, and you can set it to how you want it to delay before it starts counting, or is here. Okay, so we are going to take our time and do this step by step and make sure that our project works nicely. Okay, all right, so what we are going to do is that we are going to download the files. Okay, so let's download this one. Okay, because we have the GitHub here, so let's click on it, and from here let's scroll down and see if we are on the right side. Yes, we are on the right side because you can see the demo that I was showing you. You can see the counter is here, and you can see the span also is here. Okay, exactly the same. So even if you don't know how to go about it, when you come here, the demo here also would even direct you to do that. But don't worry, I'm here. We are going to do all that together. So you hit here and come to download. Okay, let's download the zip file. Hit on it. You wait for it to download. Okay, it has been downloaded successfully. Now, after the counter app is downloaded, the next thing to do is that let's scroll down a bit, and we can see that we have a request waypoint.js. Okay, if you can check from the demo again, you can see that you will need the waypoints also. Okay, apart from the counter app, we will need a waypoint. Okay, you see here .main.js. So we are going to download that one too. So upon here, coming here, we can click on this one. Okay, let's open in a new tab. So we can open this one here, and this is the landing page, and this is how it looks like. So now we can just hit on download and start downloading. So let's do that. Okay, now it is done downloading. All right, so now let's unzip the file and let's insert them in our JavaScript files. Okay, so I'll open this one. I'll open it, click on it to open. It's here. I will open it. Then inside here, there are many files here, but the one that I need is jQuery. Okay, I will need this one. Okay, jQuery counter app dot main.js. Okay, the minify version. Okay, it's the same, but this one is the minify version, so I will need a minify version. Okay, that one has been compressed, so it will not take much space. All right, now I'll copy this one inside my JS. Okay, like this. I'll drag it and drop it like this, and I'm good to go. All right. Wait, let me arrange my things better. The viewpoint, let me make it list. Okay, so now let's go to the second one, which is the waypoint. Okay, which is the waypoint is here. I will open it, and in here, so inside this, I'll open the library, and inside the library, I'm still looking for the minify version. Okay, so we have this one, and this is the minify version, waypoint.main.js. All right, and again, I'll drag it and drop it inside my JS like this. Also, all right. So I don't need this one again. I'll close it. All right, now let's move on and link our files. Okay, let me close our project file. Now at the very bottom here, that is where we are going to link our files. Okay, so remember it's a JavaScript file, so you begin with scripts down with the source. Then I'll say jQuery. Sorry, with the source, I'll say js/jQuery. What is the file name? jQuery.waypoint.main.js. So it's here. All right. And I would like to give the type. For the type, if you like, you can omit it. So JavaScript like this. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and link the second file. Okay. So the type test will come first before JavaScript. Okay. So let's correct it here. So test/JavaScript. Okay. Something like this. All right. So now we've been able to link our file successfully. Okay. All right, so now when you scroll up a bit, you can see that everything is set here. Okay, we have our counter here, and our numbers has been inserted nicely. So what we do next is that we just have to run to the JS file inside here, and let's start write the jQuery code. Okay, so what we do now is that let's go back to the documentation here. So we will need this one. Okay, you can see that inside the script tag we will need this one. All right, and we already have this one, so we will not copy the first one because it has been already inserted. So inside our JS file, you can see that we already have this one, so we don't need that one. So we will omit that one and come here and copy from here. Okay, we copy from this $sign, I think, to this point. Okay, so we will carefully copy. Then inside our JS, we will come here and we paste it here. Here, let's paste it here nicely. All right, guys, so we are through. Okay, we are done. Believe me, we are done. Okay, now that we have inserted only this simple lines of code, we are through. So let's head towards our browser and see the magic. So now to our browser, let's refresh, and there we go. There we go. Awesome, awesome. Let's refresh again. Wow, wow, awesome. Now, if you like, you can increase the duration. Okay, so now it works with 1,000 millisecond. Okay, what if you make it 4,000 millisecond? Okay, now let's check it again. Okay, 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 awesome, awesome. All right, guys, congratulations, you were able to build this counter section. Okay, all right, guys, so but before we go, let's commit our changes and push. Okay, so we come inside our project, so we come here and let's give it a commit message. All right, so counter section rounded successfully. Let's commit. Let's open in our terminal, then let's push it. All right, guys, everything has been pushed successfully. I was having a little issue with my authentication because I logged in for quite a time. So let me check it whether I am on the server side. Okay, so I'll open my responsive project. Then let's check whether everything is up to date. So I'll come to my JS and I'll come to my main.js here, and let me go to the down section. Okay, we can see this is the project that we just pushed. Okay, so everything is up to date. Congratulations, guys. Till we meet again, keep practicing and happy coding.